Hey there, BookTube. Noah. Everyone who reads it must converse is the channel. And today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to talk about a movie called I'm Thinking of Ending Things. This movie is by Charlie Kaufman. It's his newest movie that he has out, and it's on Netflix. It's exclusively on Netflix now. And I think that it's the most disjointed, the most cryptic of all of his movies, which are all thought experiments. He did The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. He did Being John Malkovich, Soliloquy, New York, and he did Adaptation. Wonderful movie. There's a lot to be said about Charlie Kaufman's movies, and I enjoy all of them. He's one of my favorites. But this movie was very, very weird. It was almost unbelievably weird, where I'm just like, what is happening right now? You know? And this is coming off the heels of watching it last night, and then I saw a video response by Writing Better Stories. If you are not familiar, I'm going to put a link in the description to his channel, and where he tries to kind of break it down. And I think that there's just too much in this movie for him to have done a good job at it. So I'm going to throw my hat in the ring as well. And I'm not trying to bust on him. It's a commendable job, but there's just too much to this movie. So the story starts out, and hopefully everybody that's watching this has watched this movie. It seems like we're following a road trip. It's a road trip movie to visit for a young woman. It's from her perspective. She's the one that we're in her head. We're hearing her thoughts and that kind of thing. And it is a road trip movie where she is going with her new boyfriend, a boyfriend of, about half a year, and going to visit his parents that live, in upstate New York. They live in the city, and they're going out to upstate New York, farms and stuff. And it is in the middle of the winter. Like, it is cold, it is storming, it is a tough time. And from the very beginning of the movie, you're like, why are you doing this? This is not the move, to make. And they're going out to visit his parents and have dinner over there. It's already dinner time. They're getting there at dark, and she's got to be back by the morning time. It's just not the move to make. So you're already in this kind of weird place where you're like, well, this isn't exactly the way I would do it, or something like this. So what is going on here? A whole lot of weird things ensue, and the narrative becomes more his narrative. You're right from the start, you're following her, but every bit of information that you get slowly becomes him. And you're thinking, is she him? Is he her? What is going on here? What is actually happening? And I think what is happening is that we are actually in the mind of the man this whole time. And this man is in a very depressed, kind of, feeling sorry for himself, reflecting on his life. And what is he reflecting on? Well, he's reflecting on loss of love, the one that got away, or maybe the multiple that got away. Writing Better Stories called out in his video, rightly so, that the name of the girl changes multiple times throughout the movie. And this movie is 1/3, the dinner at the parents' house, which is totally crazy. The parents, their ages change in random ways. What is actually the plot is constantly called into question. And most of the movie, 2/3 of the movie, is in the car, and it's done very beautifully. These scenes of conversation, but what is being talked about? One thing that comes up is a movie that I have not seen, and I want to see it because I think it will lend a little bit to the to what Charlie Kaufman is doing here. It is a movie called Woman Under the Influence. A Woman Under the Influence. And they talk about it and they hash it out and they get into kind of an argument. They get into kind of arguments on every single subject matter that comes up. They don't see eye to eye. And the woman, by the midpoint, you see, I mean, she says explicitly, yeah, this is over. You know, I'm gonna end this, break up with him after this road trip and things like that. But the ending that is being alluded to in I Think I'm Ending Things is the ending of the movie itself, which is the man's story. So his ending. And one of the other things that come up, that's why I grabbed this out here, David Foster Wallace, The Supposedly Fun Thing I'll Never Do Again, is a collection of essays. And what is called into, what theme is talked about, and it's more than one time, not just in this essay, but this as well, is the aesthetic. What is beautiful? What is what do people want? And an individual will think that this kind of thing is coming from ourselves. Well, I like what I like, right? I think something is beautiful. It's different than what this person or that person over there thinks is beautiful. So what I think is beautiful is coming from inside. And I know what I think is beautiful just from my own inner knowing, my own intuition and my own inner knowing. And that is different than others. And what is constantly called into question is that is not the case. Beauty and aesthetic, things that are aesthetically pleasing, is something that is a collective mental activity. And what is beautiful has changed over the course of human history time and time again. And so, what is the aesthetic of a good story? What is the aesthetic of a good movie? And that is what's being shown in this movie. The musical Oklahoma plays a big part. And then we're gonna just talk about the ending, because the ending is so weird, and I think just subverts the watcher's expectations in such a way that it does a very good job in showing that you're not getting what you expect to get as a good ending, and why. Why is that something that you feel like you deserve, or feel like this movie should have that in order to be a good movie? It's not a good movie without it. That kind of thing comes up. That kind of thing comes up in the feeling of watching this thing. So at the end, there is a very choreographed, over the top, beautifully done dance sequence where these two dancers actually take on the roles of the two of the couple that we're watching this whole movie, and they dance and they're in concert together, and it is beautiful. And then there is this janitor who is the man, the guy, the main character of the movie. We've seen him in his old self reflecting. He's just reflecting throughout the movie. But here we see him as a young man, personified by another as well. So the man is actually personified by two different dancers in this, and the janitor kills the young man. The janitor kills the man that is dancing with the female. Not in any kind of gory, brutal way, but in a theatrical kind of way, using the ribbons to show the blood. You know what I mean? This kind of thing. Totally theatrical, and not gory, or not in a way of shock value at all, but just to illustrate that this this person, this guy, has gone through changes in his life, and the new man, the more present man, has killed, for lack of a better word, old versions of himself to get where he is, and even where he's at is not a happy place. This is not a movie with a happy ending, and it shows, and it's calling that out explicitly, that if we're not going to give a happy ending, then is it a good story? In the end, we have a scene that was called out by Write Better Stories, and it is a scene of accepting an award. The man is accepting an award, and the whole audience and his mother is there, and the woman in the story is there, seemingly as his wife or his significant other, and they all have this really fake old person makeup done. The whole audience does. And what that is calling out is the final scene in A Beautiful Mind with Russell Crowe and Jennifer Connelly. And if anybody's seen A Beautiful Mind, what an awesome movie. It is a great movie. It is a ride, and you are on it, and the twist, and you see what John Nash, who is an actual person, was dealing with his whole life. And even though he's a genius, he's actually very, very tortured, and tortured in a psychological way, in a biological way even, that he doesn't have any control of and just has to live with. And then we have this scene at the end of A Beautiful Mind where, it is so Disney in the way that everything is wrapped up, and you get this nice feeling of, hey, everything's going to be okay, when the movie doesn't allude to that in any kind of way. The movie is actually a very sad story, and should have ended more true to John Nash's life, who probably dealt with, and it shows in the movie that he dealt with this affliction that he had. He's schizophrenic. He dealt with his schizophrenia for his entire life until his death. And I mean, and that's just how it is. But we have this scene in A Beautiful Mind where, it's all happy. Everything's going to be okay. His wife is there. They're in love. They're there and supporting each other all the time. And it's just over the top ridiculous. It kind of ruins, the end of the movie is kind of a ruining of the movie. And I think that Charlie Kaufman is using that scene specifically to show how a movie is ruined. How an ending can destroy a wonderfully told story. And then after that speech of accepting this award, that is the same scene of A Beautiful Mind, then he goes over and he's in a scene in Oklahoma where he does this musical piece, and he's singing this soliloquy, and he's there and singing about how he's going to take his life in his own hands, and he's going to go find himself a mate, a woman, somebody to share his life with. And that kind of thing has already been addressed in the movie and subverted. These kind of views, Freudian views, are something that has been on the table in the movie before and subverted, and I think is just another showing of somebody that is locked in their own mind. This movie left me feeling very cold. It's a cold movie. You're in a snowstorm, a blizzard the whole time. It is just very, very dark, to tell you the truth. It doesn't seem like it's dark. You don't understand how dark it is until you reflect back on it and then see how dark this movie is. And the darkness is the darkness of life. We're all here to suffer, for lack of a better word. All right, suffer through life. And that means endure, right? We're here to endure. So endurance and enduring through life is the way to go, and embracing that. And I think that this movie, I'd say it's right down the middle for me. It's by far not my favorite Charlie Kaufman. It's by far not his, his best. But it's worth a rewatch, and that's for sure. I'll definitely give it another watch, maybe a couple more watches, and work through some of these ideas. I'd appreciate any responses. Let's get somewhere with it. You know what I mean? If you like Charlie Kaufman's stuff, you'll like it, and it'll give you a lot of food for thought and a lot of thoughts for exploring. So I think I hope you like this book too, and let me know in the comments. Thank you. Bye bye.